Uh, oh, hey, what is going on, man? Uh, little, little on the just recovering from sick. Can we say that now? We don't have to say the c word. Not that I had that, but can sick be sick now? I'm a little stuffy. Um, I was I was sick the past couple days. I'd like to go back to saying that. Ah, ah, looking at the open. I'm gonna run that not this weekend, but next weekend. Should be fun. Should be a lot of fun or expensive. One of the two. It's okay. It'll be a pleasant change up from what I've been doing. Like I've said a whole bunch of times, I do not mind clone racing. It's a lot of fun to me. It's just a different skill set, but it's been a hot minute since I've been behind the wheel of the Open, and I freaking can't wait. But I do. I got some scaling to do. I gotta try some stuff. See if I can't change up some things, and I got some ideas that I want to try. What's going on, Bill? Um, Nothing crazy, nothing revolutionary. And not for nothing, we're taking a stab on tires. Now, there is a extremely big chance that I am going to be on Vega Yellows because that's pretty much what I'm going to take. I won't take Maxis, that's for certain, but I may take my Reapers down with me, or at least a set of them. I prep up a set um, just in case the track gets hard. But I have two sets of Vegas that should get me by. I have a super soft set in case it's mushy. And then I have a set that is currently on the cart right now, and it is somewhere in the 45 durometer, possibly 50. I haven't duroed them in a while because I haven't running Vegas in a while. But yeah, when my small like last Saturday, yeah. Sweet, cool, man. I can now see that might be something that would be fun to me. Kind of a split in the difference, so that I've spent all summer long running the clone, and just having a little more horsepower. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I get the racing big O and in the open flatheads and stuff like that. I think that'd be super cool to do. A little more horsepower, a little more passing ability, a little more sketchiness in the corners that I'm kind of used to from years past. But with just on a basically a clone flat cart setup, that'd be pretty wicked. Same thing, waiting on weekends since we should be. Yeah, uh, yeah. Vega Yellows are serious. That's I like all tire brands. I think that all tire brands have their purpose, and that new tire brand coming out there, and be pretty cool to see what they can do. But I'm all for it. I'm all for competition. I'm all for the brands. All tires. Certain tires are better on certain tracks. It's just plain as day. That being said, my most used one of my favorite tires is a Vega Yellow. They're good. They just are good. You can abuse the crap out of them, or they're fast right out of the wrapper. Just that's what happens. Uh, my tail stank. What's the best soap for a funky booty, brother? Beard Octane, handcrafted soap bars. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I know you're probably jesting, but also Beard Octane. Ooh. Yeah, Beard Octane. Uh, I use them every day. Beard wash. I use the beard oils, the beard butters. Um, yeah. Code Ben10 to save 10% on top of whatever deals they have go on. You can usually stack them. Like if something's on sale for 10% off already, you can use my code and then it's 20% off. Or sometimes on if you wait till like they have some bigger deals, Black Friday, for instance. Usually my code's worth little more, but just in general, like they're a little more expensive than say your Irish Spring, obviously. But when you're talking about, they're I believe Beard Octane soaps to be better quality than Dr. Squatch. They're slightly bigger. They are more expensive, but they're slightly bigger, and the array of scents is amazing. Get you super clean. I'm a I'm a bar soap kind of girl. I mean, I have some Manscaped uh, stuff. The body shower, it's pretty decent. Good cologne smell. It's pretty nice. But in general, I like bar soaps and Beard Octane. They hand make theirs, so it's super good stuff. Uh, but yeah, anything like that. They got clones. They got deodorant, natural deodorants, all sorts of groovy stuff over at Beard Octane. I'm a I'm not only sponsored by them, but I am a user of their products, and have been since I grew a beard in 2018, end of 2018 is when I first started. It was my very first beard. I didn't even know I could grow a beard. And then 2019 was when I first tried Beard Octane. I've been using them since, and I've been an affiliate of theirs for a couple of years now, and I'm very much behind him. Joe is a police officer and an investigator who owns the company. His whole family works with him. Built a whole building. Real homegrown American built company. And absolutely, they support me. I support them. Absolutely phenomenal people. Bent over backwards for me, and I hope I've repped them well. So yeah, yeah. There's Ernie Kemfer. I'm gonna see Ernie next week. We're gonna go do some Northeast Divisional racing on a track I've never been to. Well, a lot of people have never been to, so that should be interesting. Um, yeah, Ernie works for Southern Tier Brewing Company, and I sent him a picture of I was up in Henrietta, New York, and Southern Tier has their own line of bourbons, different flavored stuff, pumpkin, so it's pumpkin flavored whiskey, and straight stuff, and very cool. I just saw a whole row of them, so I took a picture and I had to send it to Ernie. Um, yeah, it's their beers are good if you like stout beers and stuff. And some of them are a bit sweet for my taste, but really good. Not that I'm sponsored by Southern Tier, but just I don't drink a lot, but when I do drink, I like heftier beers. Unless it's a hot summer day, then a lighter beer is fine. But I bourbon. I'm a bourbon kind of. I got older, and then I turned into a bourbon girl, if you want to call it that. Uh, I just got some. What was that? Rebel Cask Strength. I want to try it, and it's 120 proof. It'll put hair on your chest. Not for those if you're 21 or older. Drink responsibly. But I tell you what, a something, couple of those on top of the rocks there will set you straight in a hurry. Other than that, I drink. I do have some Sam Adams Oktoberfest in the fridge right now. I like a beefy beer. If I'm gonna drink, I don't drink that often, but when I do drink, I like flavorful things. But yeah, the plan is the plan is to run the Open. It'll be my final race of 2024. And I got to check through carbs to make sure everything. I'll probably fire it up sometime this week here, but mostly scaling. Get it on the scale. I want to make sure that things are right. I'm going to double check over a bunch of stuff. I chose not to go to. There's a 5,000 to win race, so October 12th, there was the choice between the 5,000 to win race down in Ohio, Farmers Raceway, which maybe, if this is going to be the Stevens Memorial Race, if it's going to be a continuing thing, I might make my way down there maybe next year. If they do it again, I think that'd be really cool. I didn't want to run the risk of driving almost 8 hours down there. It'll only be the second time I've been behind the wheel in the Open this year. And it's not that I anticipate things to go wrong. It's that I'd be awfully pissed off at myself if something broke 8 hours away, and I wasn't prepared for it. I don't have a backup open anymore. I don't have a backup engine. That always was a saving grace when Walt was my racing partner, that we had backups on backups. I had backup chassis, I had backup cart, I had, or tires, I had backup engine, and all this stuff. And I know that, boo hoo, you don't have two of everything now, Ben, but it's still, when you're on my budget now, when I'm on my own budget and I only have one of everything, I have to be very careful of how far away I'm driving. Plus, let's add into this, not that you guys really need to know, but my wife scheduled something for me to do on Friday. So I'm going to go do this Halloween something or other with the family, which is awesome. It's cool and everything. But then I'm going racing Saturday. It's 3 and 3/4 hour drive down there. Cool. Down into PA, no problem. Think that's awesome. But then we have to go to Fright Fest on Sunday with the family again to go to the amusement park. So the 11th, 12th, and 13th, I am freaking booked. That weekend is just gonna poof right gone. Um, yeah, yeah, you're going to big O into. Oh, nice. If anything, just to witness it, that would be freaking amazing. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go, if you the whole thing is, I wouldn't even know where to begin to look for an engine if I was gonna do it. Not that I'm gonna, but the big O is, it's on the bucket list. There are a couple of those races that are huge. I would absolutely love to get to, but it's usually all the big stuff is at the end of the year, and this guy is broke by that time. Oh, nice. Dude, Brian Cherry is a superhuman being. He is. It's great. I love Brian. Not, he is a very giving person and all that stuff, but it's great to see a businessman, and he is covered head to toe in tattoos. Like, I'm a you know I am a owner of quite a few of the design the designed flesh, and to see somebody like him just be able to operate businesses and make money, and be so well spoken and stuff. I think it's fantastic. He just loves tattoos and he's covered in them. I think it's freaking great. I've met and hung out with Brian quite a few times, raced against him. Super dude. Um, his son is it severe autism. He's anyway, he's special needs and super cool kid too. Uh, Been around him, but I won a 1,000 to win race that Brian sponsored. Oh geez, I can't remember what year it was. Was it 2017, 18? Sam, I can't remember if I was on my Sanam or not. Anyway, maybe it was before that. Maybe it was 15 or 16, somewhere in there. Anyway, Hunterstown, PA, and he couldn't make it. He put up this money race, and I ended up winning at Hunterstown, and I won $1,000. It was the biggest payout I ever won. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, Brian's a super dude, and his dad for that fact. Uh, yeah, I got to hang out with them guys quite a few times. They were brutal fast. They went down to when we were at Dumpling Valley when they had the Grand Nationals down there. They were great down there. Nice. Race at flat and flat tight corners along streets. Sometimes I would rather it turn. He's asking a question here. If you guys can read that, high stagger or low stagger. I would concern myself more with corner speed than I would straightaway speed. I know that the buzzword is roll speed, roll speed. Oh, you got to be going down the straightaways. This is true, but if you have to park it in the corners, it is not worth it. Corner speed will always add to straightaway speed. Get it to turn first. The less you got to move your wheel, the less you got to saw on the wheel, the less speed you're scrubbing off, the more straightaway speed you will have. I've definitely found that between now running the clone. I mean, if I run anything under inch and a half rear stagger now, I feel as if I get tight. Now, this isn't always the case, but a lot of the tracks up here in the north are smaller bull rings, tighter corners, and you really need that. need that to cut. Matter of fact, I just ran last Saturday, and I had just about an inch and three quarters rear stagger. So I would say get it through the turn. That is your main focus. Corner speed becomes straightaway speed. Don't worry about your stagger scrubbing off too much straightaway speed. I mean, maybe it's somebody like somewhere like Possum Kingdom, it would count for something because it's a quarter mile and the friggin' straightaways are super long. But then again, you know, it's still what I said remains. The faster you get through the corner, the more corner speed you're going to hold. Yeah, I think it's just better to have better corner speed and ability to pass too. I mean, if you're fighting through the corner and then relying on your motor to pass people, that's tough. So nice, very cool, Ernie. If you guys didn't catch the beginning of the live stream here, I'm a little stuffy, just getting over some sickness, hacking up some lung cookies, all that gross stuff. Uh, but it is, yeah, South Carolina, Iron City. Yep, there's so many tracks. I'm way too far north to have this desire to run so many tracks. So one thing I wanted to bring up on this live stream was I checked the number before I got on here last week where I mentioned, hey, I put this video of me just going from a dirty tire, and then I hit it with a brush and cleaned off some of the dirt, and then hit it with the angle grinder. You guys have seen me do this a whole bunch, and it has 620,000 plays now, views. I have no idea how I got into the algorithm. I have no idea. I don't aim on doing it again. I mean, if it happens again, cool. But what I did want to talk about was it hit a whole bunch of people that don't do what we do. It hit a whole bunch of people that don't race carts, that don't understand what we do, and it hit a bunch of people that may race carts but they race road course. And so there was a couple, I'll say, arguments for fun. I don't really argue with people on the internet. I did get in a Twitter fight not too long ago with somebody, but that was NASCAR stuff. But there was I think it's going to be an inspiration for a video that not one way of doing things is always the correct way. When people on the internet tell you you have to do it this way, that is not always the case. They're not considering, like, for instance, the way I do tires. So putting that etch into the tires using 120 grit, which is what I used on those SS11s. Now, mind you, I drove from fifth up to second. I just ran out of laps. I didn't, if I didn't, I had to pass people, so I lost distance to the leader to run him down. I think I was a little faster than the leader, possibly. He ran a great race. I take nothing away from him. Congratulations on the win. But also, I think I could have beat him had I gotten to him. Anyway, so the etch that I put on those tires, I had people all week long telling me I was doing it wrong. That is the worst thing you can do to your tires. You're ruining your tires. And then it just amazed me that people who did know something about racing were so blinded by this is the way I do things, so what you're doing is incorrect. And it's just like, well, no. Like the one gentleman I got in an argument with was a road racer. Like, well, he's just like, you just run them one lap and then they're cleaned off. It's just like, that's fantastic. My channel primarily is for dirt kart racing. I mean, I never really made that generalization, but I run dirt carts. We discuss dirt cart things. So when this person said that, I had to, in capitals, say dirt. This is, yes, I agree that me doing that to my tires isn't good if you're a road course racer and if you run toady carts and you're making rights and lefts. I completely agree. This probably is not the choice way to do it, but I run dirt. I also don't run southern dirt fall. I don't need a fine grit sandpaper. What I need is an etching. I need a texture in the tire in order to absorb prep, in order to grab the surface in which I'm on. So the tires that I prepped, I hit them with 2 coats of SAA grape, so a pretty aggressive track tag product going into the night. And then at the track, I was wiping them with that SSA grape and SQS. orange. I danced around, but I started fifth. I came up to second. I had to pass some people. Cart worked really well. The tires were fast. My cart was fast. Just having some people tell me that I was incorrect, it was just like, hey man, the track I ran on was soft and it was cold. Like, not, we're all in different parts of the country. We all race on different surfaces. We all do different things to tires, chassis setups, this and that. The I know it's the internet, and I'm not frustrated. I'm old enough to know better that the internet can be frustrating sometimes, and people come out of left field and you got to do this. I sometimes have people just like, oh, put 60% cross in it. Trust me, it'll work. It's just like, okay, do you know how much left I'm running in my cart? Do you know how much nose I'm running in my cart? Do you have an idea what stagger I'm running? What durometer of tire? This all comes together when you're racing carts, that it doesn't make sense to just blanket say, put 60% across in your cart. Cut your tires, or only hit them with sandpaper. There's 400 grip. It may work for you. It may work on the surface that you're running on, but not everybody is at the same track. Not everybody runs the same setup. So it's been interesting. I find it entertaining. Of course, the guys at work have to listen to me rant and rave about stuff, and I'm like, oh, this guy is saying this stuff. Oh, and I'm not mad about it. It was entertaining, but it was absolutely crazy that video did. I just checked it, like 620,000 views. It's something I have done, 5, 10 times before, put on this channel. It's just, entertaining. This is, hey, you want to grind a tire? This is how I grind a tire. There was nothing special about it. I'm sure I could replicate it if I freaking tried to. But it just reminded me of that you can take into consideration what some people suggest you do to your car, a setup, a tire, this and that. But you know, blanket statements like you got to do it this way, and it's just like, please don't do that. Everybody is running a different race. Everybody has a different situation. That's why there are so many. Their chassis setups are different. Depending on what part of the country, and tires are different. There's different brands. There's all these different variables. But it was kind of cool. I was texting my son. I was said, it was like 450, and he's like, what is 450? And I'm like, K. And he's like, 450,000. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you gonna get to a million? I'm like, no. But it would be pretty cool. It's just by far and wide the most viral video I've ever had. Again, I have no idea how I got into that algorithm that it ended up on people's YouTube page, but it's been weird. I did on the second note before I'll get to this. We passed 5,000 subscribers, and I say we because I didn't do it. It's everybody that watches this channel that has subscribed to the channel. I mean, I went from like uh 4,930 something. I was like, oh, all right, I'm doing pretty good, and maybe here in a month or so. And then that video that I just got done talking about, and I just shot past 5 grand. I was like, whoa, well, that was crazy. And then now I'm like 5,300, something crazy. And I can't thank you guys enough. I appreciate the crap out of you. It's you know, I sound repetitive when I say it, but I came from doing beard or product reviews, and that channel still has 380 people on it, which I appreciate those people as well. But as it turns out, I know a little bit more about carts than I do beards. Uh, I still know stuff about beards, but anyway, I digress. It's been pretty cool. Yeah, I think I was like, whoa, it's just weird. Um, I appreciate everybody coming in though. Okay. EMS about the same size as AMK. Yes. Uh run. What did I run? Okay. Gearing wise, I ran an 1160 at AMS this past Saturday. I turned 6,900 on the clone. I believe I ran an 1163 at AMK. So Adrenaline Mountain Cartway is what AMK is. Three more teeth, tighter turns. Flatter, obviously flatter, because the banking at AMS is like this. But AMK Fast Track, Vegas, it likes Vegas. But it also, you can get around there on Reapers just fine too. But I would at least add a couple teeth. 3 might be too much for you. It depends how much momentum you're able to carry, but it is more paper clip ish than AMS is. AMS turns into a big circle when you're running there. But yeah. Hello. Do you run low cross or low left or high cross, low left? Typically high cross, high left is the generalization there. Not only is it easier to get when you run higher left, you're more on that left rear tire, or higher cross. You're more you're on the left rear, more pressure's on that left rear tire, the more cross inherently you're going to run. So yes, if you're going to run lower cross, lower left side is usually the case. That's part of the problem I'm running into a little bit up here, is that in the clone, I can only get over so far because I'm broad up top, and I can't, my shoulders against the engine, so I can't get any more over right. So I carry too much left. Up here on slipperier tracks, you have a tendency to want to load the right side a little more. You want to get down to 56, 57% left for a little more side bite up here. A counteraction to that, which I found I ran really well last Saturday, is that somebody suggested, hey, raise your seat. Now this can be done one of two ways, and I plan on doing it a video eventually. You can either, if these are this is your cart rails. If your seat is down or below it, you know how you run your seat. The higher you raise this, the higher your VCG is, the more you're going to create your rollover on your right side. So you can either tip your seat up, which I did, and I'm a little uncomfortable because I'm up on the steering wheel. It's not brutal. I'd rather be set back a little more. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my butt up, get my seat, the bottom of my seat, possibly above the rails, to allow that VCG to make the cart bite in the corner a little better. But a friend of mine, they were experimenting with that as well, to see if it helped. But it definitely, with my high left in the clone cart, it definitely helped getting that rollover to make the right side tires bite better on the looser type tracks that we have up north here. What's going on, man? It's by far the most people I've had in here, which is weird. And I appreciate you all coming in here, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's due to this past week for whatever reason. Again, I don't understand algorithms or how you get into them. I'm appreciative of it, but it's just very strange. So yeah, I got to scale this puppy. It's still a mess because I was doing stuff, but I just got extra parts here. What's in there? Anyway, if anybody has never been in here before, this is just a barn. This is where I do all my stuff in. But this right here is my Bama. That is a 270cc two-stroke. It is set up on a jack shaft system. So this is electronic power valve that I have a controller for. Here's the right rear tire, pipe out the back, heavy duty brake. In there is a 4-disc clutch. But this is what I've been running for since 2017, or a variation of this. I saw there was an extra couple people in here. I don't know if anybody's ever not seen. There's a 3-gallon fuel tank. Those dual 420s breathe methanol. Yeah, good stuff. And got some. Hey, look at that. Actually, this is supposed to be a 20. The reason I had 430 on there was I had the 300 before, and I do not anymore. That got sold off. So 270 is Oh, it's probably a lot slower being a 270, right? It's really when you get into the bigger, more two-stroke stuff. RPM is a difference, and it's weird that 30 cc's would make that big of a difference, but the 300 cc did not like that. Obviously, it's a bigger piston, it's a big slug moving up and down. It doesn't like to turn the same RPM. You lose all the torque that you gained by having a bigger piston. Now between the 250 and 270, that 20 cc's doesn't seem to be as crucial, and you can twist the engine a lot more. This I run my that it's anywhere from 10,500 RPM up to 11,000 is where that engine behaves the best. And the more RPM, the better it gets off the corner, the more power it makes. Now, I showed you the electronic power valve just briefly there. It's just a little control unit, and the power valve's in the exhaust. So as speed increases, as the RPM increases, that that power valve goes from shut in the exhaust valve, which creates more bottom end, and then it comes up and opens that exhaust port to allow everything out. What that does is normally a two-stroke, if you're looking at a graph, two-strokes horsepower goes like this, and it does this, and it peak horsepower is up here. Well, what that power valve does is it rounds this curve of power and makes it a broader. It's not as sharp when it hits. It's like a light switch. When you get a two-stroke, that hits really hard, it'll be nothing, 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 and then everything all at once, and it's a real bear to hold on to. With the power valve system, it arcs that power, so it's not as violent when it comes out, but it's a smoother pull. So I go wide open regardless. But as the engine builds RPM, how that arc behaves at the wheels, as the horsepower applies, how that behaves, depends on how the cart is. When you don't run a power valve, it's completely drivable. Did it for years. Matter of fact, I wouldn't hesitate to go back to a 250, without a power valve. I'd do it in a heartbeat. But there's what we affectionately used to call a sedan lag. So when we're running the 125s, the 131 two-stroke sedans, air cools, you would richen the carburetors up so much they would take such a gulp of fuel. So you go into the corner, you lift. When you lift, those butterflies slam shut, and it would dump fuel into the carburetors. Then when you open the butterflies back, you would never go wide back open. It would take all that fuel and it would suck it into the engine, and it would be a lag. It would be a and there's a big puff of smoke that comes out of your pipe, and then as soon as it clears its throat, as I like to say, all of a sudden it's power. We did that when we went to the 250 instead of the 125 or 131, which was called a stroker back then. When we went to the MX based engines, these engines became just a bigger version of that sedan. But that sedan lag was still there. So as you used that, try and lean it to get rid of it. But if you lean it too much, you can get a sticky piston. You don't want to get them too lean, or they go yep, and that's the end of that. Um, that I believe that the Recon overall is a more versatile chassis. Um, it's good everywhere type of thing. I believe the scythe actually gets into the corner better. This is just my experience. And I've said that to numerous people that I believe that the shoot speed, the way the cart drives into the corner, I believe the scythe to be a little faster than that. But I think where it gains on entry, it loses a little bit to the Recon on exit. The Recon isn't nearly as good on, or not nearly. It's not as good as the Scythe on entry, but it is as good, if not better, than the Scythe getting off the corner. Both of them fast chassis. They work good on. I raced against some this summer. Scythes with the Recon. You're splitting hairs. Where you give up a little here, you're gaining a little there, type of thing. Either one would be a great choice. But I think people longed for after the Deuce, and then the Scythe was better. But I think that they just people really wanted a broader spectrum. They wanted something that was easy on tires, which the Recon is. Um, just it gives you a way bigger tire window for your Saturday night racer to, you know, not have to be so dead on type of thing. I think the Scythe and the Deuce, for that matter, have more raw speed in them, but it's a much smaller tire window to get that raw speed out, and it's a little easier to get off on tires or whatever when you run, say, the Scythe or like I mentioned, the Deuce. I ran the Deuce for 2 years. Really good chassis. Just it was a little tire sensitive. Um, and with the open, when I ran the open on it, and that's all I ran back there, it would, because of that double rail thing on the left, it would slam down the left side and then just push. It you had to time that just right when you got back to throttle and be prepared for it to just have your nose pointed the right way, because if you didn't have it pointed the right way, you were going to the wall in a hurry. But overall, Recon probably is a better choice. I won't say I prefer one or the other, because if you go back and you want to watch the video of me at the uh, 2022 Grand Nationals, I was on the Scythe, and you can see my entry speed is fantastic. I was not on the throttle, and I was rolling up on karts that were ahead of me. Just worked really well. Yeah, that I will say that that's what I'm talking about. That what it's giving up on exit. I think it gets a little tight on exit, so it makes it a little. You got to wait on getting back to the throttle. If you do it too soon, it does get a little pushy. So yeah. Um, but yeah, in general, I mean, there is a reason why Phantom. Not only people clamoring for it, but people went back to had no problem going back to the Recon, because the Recon, just in general, it does everything. Just it may not be as good, like I said, into the corner, but in total, it's got good roll speed. It's got good corner speed. It's got everything that is very, very, very good. But that's my opinion on that, and that's all it is an opinion. Boy, oh boy. Oof. I Vulcan, I believe they are to a great chassis. I have seen. I don't think I've seen one run up here. It doesn't mean they don't exist up here in the Northeast, but I have not seen one. I know Wesley makes a great chassis. They use, I believe, performance parts, which are performance manufacturing, which is Slack. They make components for a whole bunch of other companies, but their components that go on there are nothing but quality. So I would say that Kinetic is. I've seen other versions of Kinetic's run, and they're super fast. The Vulcan, I'd race one if I had one. I can say that. Fireworks? Yeah, those are fireworks. If anybody's curious, that isn't from New York. I live in Western New York. Yeah, that's. Oh yeah, this fireworks. Okay. Sometimes you don't know. Not that we have a war zone out here, but sometimes, I'm right on the edge of my little town here, and sometimes somebody out in the sticks will start just blasting off a couple shots for fun. Uh, More power to them. So I used to do that when I was out in the sticks as well. But yeah, not a no, nothing new anyway. Um, I used to run Trick Olympic a long time ago, but they were 04 and 05s. The Panaz Pro, and then the Apex, I believe they were called. Yes, he has a. What are they called? Shoot, drawing a blank. As soon as somebody says it, it's the version right before their 2020s. 2020 Kinetics. Um, Peas is actually they got a couple footlooses, and I tell you what, Those are sweet looking chassis, I have to say. And Kelsey Pease was straight freaking rolling on that Footloose last Saturday. I run Recon, or run Phantom. I am a fan of karts in general. I am a fan of every manufacturer. Um, what I run doesn't mean I can't appreciate everybody else's. So I just put that out there. I think Kinetics are extremely well made. The Footlooses are. I'm I won't say jealous, but it's new stuff. You see, I want new stuff. And Kelsey Pease was. It didn't look like she was having to put much effort towards that car, and it was straight flying. Her tires didn't refire nearly as good after there was a red flag and a couple cautions and everything. So tires, um, they didn't refire as well as she had hoped. But even at the end, even when they didn't refire the way she had hoped, because I mean, middle of the race, she was cruising, just leaving people. It was crazy. She was still able to hold the lead without any problem. So shout out to Footloose chassis. Those were. I'm impressed with the design. I think they're a very clean looking chassis. I also like that when something's not overly complex and crazy, just nice, well done. This is what we have type of thing. I can appreciate the crap out of that. But yes, Manchester's back in the late '90s. They were. What's going on, Luke? You want to know who whooped me last Saturday? He's right there. That's the kid who got me. He got vengeance. So, beginning of the season, I'll get right back to this Twister question here, real quick. So, the beginning of the season, first race of the season, I was able to run Mr. Outman down. At the end of the race, I passed him on the last lap to take the win away from him, and I got him in a couple other times. I was able to pass him. Um, he cleaned up uh, he cleaned up his racing. I started racing, running real clean lines, and doing exactly what you need to do uh, to beat people. And I might have been gaining on him just ever so slightly the last couple laps last Saturday, but not enough, not nearly enough. He was nice clean lines, fast. It was very impressed. We'll go with that. But we were in Twisters back in the late '90s in the Star Champ class. We're all rages now. Nice. Uh, People swore by those Twisters when it came in, or not when it came in. That's the wrong way to say it. I had a buddy, Jimmy, who used to run Twisters, and he was very fast on them. Even that could have been 5, 10 years ago. Still on them. When you get on something that and you know what it likes, just run it till it don't go no more. Type of scenario. But yeah. And then Rages, I've heard really good things about them. That was the when it was Millenniums and Rages when that wide right side rail spacing that I noticed. I'm like, well, that's crazy. Why would anybody do that? I got two carts with the wide, spacing, the right side spacing. Um, Phantom went to that, so I like it. Shift, just yes. Mark Mode is he's a design genius. There's the little things like if you notice when you go on the rear rails attaching to the rear bumper, he has those little Heim. You can run your bumper looser because there's these little what are they called, the turnbuckle type fasteners on the rear that hold the bumper from falling off. So it allows you don't have to bind up the rear of the chassis. I know that with Phantom, a bunch of other chassis, they when they test with the bumpers tight. So they're taking that into the flex of the chassis. They're taking that into consideration when you're racing them. But with the Trick Olympics, he's got those little turnbuckles on there that hold the rear bumper, so you can run. It allows the rear rails to move and get bite where maybe something that has a tight rear bumper might not. Mark Mode just I really like his designs. I think that he takes his time and he thinks about it. And I mean, not for nothing. Rodney Childers, if you didn't know, you guys probably did know, but of Kevin Harvick's crew chief there used to run for Mark Mode in Trick Olympic, and there's that's just really cool. Listening to stories like that, I had no idea up until it wasn't too long ago. I was listening to the podcast there, Fort Takes and Fuel, and they had Mark Mode on there. And he was talking about. I was like, no freaking way! And then I learned that. I thought that is super cool. Uh, so yeah, Mark designed some stuff, man. I really like his stuff too. I'm a fan of engineering. I'm a fan of chassis design. I'm a fan of just being creative. I think it's really really cool. One of my other I used to run of Infinity Epic, and Ward, made some pretty wicked stuff back in the day. Pretty cool looking chassis. I'm a fan of all chassis, all stuff. So yeah, they if anything, I remember. I mean, even back, like I said, the 0405 that I ran, they turned. Boy, did they ever turn! They turned well. I don't know what he has figured out. I won't say that other chassis manufacturers don't have it, but Mark has always designed a chassis to be to turn well. Um, the Panaz was more forgiving than the Apex was back in the day. It's more simplistic design. The Apex had more raw speed than the Panaz did. Um, but yeah, I remember those chassis fondly. Uh, I still wish I had everything I ever owned here and could go back to it. But yeah, the new treks are extremely pleasant looking, and I like the plate he's putting in between the right side rails there for mounting your clone or your predator or whatever. I think that's a fantastic idea. Wouldn't exactly work with an open, but I'm sure, yeah, you could make something that's to get that down, uh, get your engine, which you know, if I'm thinking about it, might lower your VCG up north. Might not be the greatest thing, but then again, it might I might be able to get my body over right a little more with the engine down a little bit more. Just a thought. Yep. But oh man, really wish I could breathe out of my nose a little better. But yeah, so this week, like I said, double check over stuff. Got to tear down the. I'm not going to do the clone stuff this week, but I got to tear down the clone uh, chassis and see what that needs before the and or before beginning next season. I got to start with the. I got to do some videos on end of season stuff. How's your season go and all that, and yeah, I think I'm going to hold off and doing a video. I was going to do it tonight, but I can't barely talk out of my nose, so uh, very nasally. I think I'll wait until I have some time Saturday evening, and I'll record a video then. I should be rid of this crap by then and sounding a little better. But yeah. Uh, so who's all? I know seasons are coming to the end. I know there are big races coming up, Big O and stuff like that. Is anybody racing this weekend? Like I said, I am not. I'm waiting 2 weeks and then going to the Northeast Divisional. But I was just curious. Exodus. I just saw that the Kinetic again. I knew it'd come to me. They're on Kinetic Exoduses. Kelsey and Kyle both have Kinetic Exodus. I have not watched any of the Australian dirt karting. A long time ago, we did have. I met a guy from Australia. Yeah, so he was a huge fan. UAS. We had our series and all that, and I believe he came over. I met somebody. Oh, boy, I'm drawing a blank on what his name is. There's no way I can't think of Exodus. From I should fricking know that. Um, But yeah, he was big fan of what we do over here. He was talking about how they all run treads. They run straight up straight rail chassis, and he would talk about the way we prep tracks over here, the tire chemicals we use, that we run slicks on dirt. And I remember specifically, it was back in the day of Bob's four cycle, and I remember him saying stuff like they think I'm nuts. I talk about the way the U.S. guys uh, do things, and they're like, "No way, that won't work," and this and that. It's just like, "Oh yeah." It was definitely back on that video there. Some people that did bring up, they're like, "Why, if you run on dirt, why not run essentially treads?" And I said, depending on surface, that's not always the case. That slicks are faster, but I'd venture to guess that 95% of American dirt racing is done on slicks. Fair assessment. I mean, if we were to account for all the tires sold per year, how many are slicks versus how many are treads, and it's just to somebody who doesn't race, that makes sense, or it wouldn't make sense to them. Like, why would you run a tire with no traction on dirt? And I totally get it, but for those of us who race on that run slicks, we know better. Contact patches, speed. What's going on, Eric? Uh, Boy, is my nose getting more plugged up the longer I run here? It's getting a little chilly as you see the sweatshirt. Obviously, it's October now in New York. I might be done mowing the lawn. That's pretty okay. I was just glanced over, saw my lawnmower over there. But it also turns into me not being out here in the barn, which I got to find a setup inside for winter months, doing videos, bring in the board and stuff, and then I feel echoey. And I feel when I do videos, it's not like I embarrass that easy, but I can be as loud and boisterous as I want to out in the barn. This is my safe haven. This is my safe space. I get to do what I want out here, type of thing. My man cave. But when I'm in the house, I'm trying not to disturb people. My son is also currently living with us due to college. He's going back and forth to college. So um, now I have to, when it comes snow time, if I don't want to be freezing my buns off, I'll have to time it right so he's not home, or it's just like, hey man, you're gonna hear your old man talk about kart stuff all winter long, at least once a week, so or twice a week. Probably. I don't know. I'll probably just continue these throughout the winter. I don't see why not. Even if we can't race, we can always talk about racing. We can always bench race. We can always talk about the future of karting and stuff like that. There's always races going on down south. Obviously, WKA just put out all their stuff for Daytona Kart Week, which is great. I'm a little confused on the tires. Zavagas were some, and Reapers were some, and then Maxxis were some. But yeah, uh, Australian 100cc Gold Cup is off. Nice. Brother, I have to tell you, I have a gay relationship with my goats. Well, fantastic. Good for you, if that's what you're into. Okay. Hence why I said having a video that went viral ish. We'll call it viral because that's fun to say. But invites interesting people into your life. Do I like goats? I like using goat on my I like using goat pee on my tires. Sometimes it works. Dear Lord. Live stream went sideways in a hurry, didn't it? Holy smokes. I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't speak any other languages. Maybe a smidge of German. Uh, and I can say Je m'appelle Benjamin. I took 4 years of French, and I can say P-Rock. Oh dear Lord. Better than Goat P. BTGP. Better than Goat P. Ugh, Goat P is really good, but it also ruins your tires eventually. I did have it, it took me a while before I made this channel and everything. Somebody had reached out to me and they said that somebody had given them a whole bunch of tires. I'm assuming that he said that he was trying to treat the tires and he was having zero luck getting the durometer down on those tires. And I had the thoughts of, oh, what's going on? You could add some oils back into it. And then it occurred to me that is what I'm talking about. That's, the reason he was given the tires is because the good was gone out of the tires. Now, he's more than willing to accept the tires because, free to him, good for him. But that is when, like I said, the goodness of the chemical that is goat pee, when it does go south, when it eventually breaks down the surface of the tire so much that it destroys it, and then once the durometer starts going up, you have a hard time keeping that down and keeping the bite in the tire because it has essentially destroyed the oils that are getting you the grip. So it's just one of the things that it kind of occurred to me down the road. Like I have these conversations, and then as I created the channel and I talk about karting things, it was just like, oh yeah, that dude did reach out and he says, hey, what can I do about these tires? It's like, oh boy, it's tough. If you're in treads, Burris or Hoosier, I have only run Burris, and that was a very long time ago. I would venture to guess that Hoosier has a bigger foothold on most of the tracks. Um, I don't have a preference. I don't run treads, so it'd be not very cool of me to pick one or the other. I would just say that I know of more places that run Hoosiers and more series that run Hoosiers than they do Burris. That being said, I mean TX11s, TX22s. I used to try and run those all the time. Would never. I was very inconsistent on treaded tires for whatever reason. They just the way I drive, the setup. I was new to the sport. I got a bag of excuses why I wasn't fast on them, but I never was able to get them to work really well. But it's nothing against Burris. I saw some people run really well up here on them, but yes, I would say that Hoosier has a bigger foothold in the treaded market. Now that being said, Maxxis is making their push for it. They want in. If tracks are going to go to a no prep series with treads, I think that Maxxis wants some of that action. So there's also that. But Burrs are just the biggest downside, and I'm not talking about them coming off the ribs because that's a I think that I imagine they got that under control. We kind of talked about that before. Is there that because they're made? Well, Hoosiers made in America too, so they're more expensive than say a Maxxis is going to be. That's probably more the downside. Quality aside, either or. If you love supporting Burrs, support Burrs, run Burrs treads. Uh, Hoosiers not going to be a bad choice either. Yep, they definitely they got some series out there that they're very competitive. A lot of the like if you get into the QRC stuff, the open outlaw stuff, they got their foothold in them. So they make a quality tire. I would say you're pick whichever one you feel. Um, I don't think you're going to go wrong with either. Uh, I don't know that much about them to have an overly big opinion on it. Oh goodness gracious! It really was. I'm trying not to be a baby this time, being sick. You got the man flu or whatever, and act like we're dying. You kind of run treads, okay? That's if the track will accept them. If in it, what I mean by that is a well prepped track that is prepped for slicks tends to not like a treaded tire as much. Um, the treaded tire typically is slower on a track that is prepped for slicks. Doesn't mean that a treaded tire can't go fast. No, it absolutely doesn't mean that. It just, in general, you're giving up surface area of contact when a slick tire hooks up. It is 100% on the ground. To whereas those, even though you're gaining traction from those little lugs, you're also giving up surface area of contact. So, depending if it's a super loose track, I wouldn't hesitate at all. If it's a track that breaks up a lot, I wasn't hesitate at all to run some treads to find traction where there isn't traction. But if it's a well prepped track, it's even creating a black groove of grip or is spongy and soft and I'd take slicks. It's just my who do you think is a good engine builder for a clone? I run Motorworks clones. They are what is it? They're out of the top of PA. I'm drawing a blank here. They're freaking terrible, man. It's late at night, I guess. Shingle House, PA. My motor builder is Motor Works. Motor Works with an X at the end. Mike Pease builds my clones. I think they're extraordinarily competitive. Um, they're you can pick a motor builder out there. Depends on AKRA or NKA. What motor rules you have that might determine more so on who you choose. But um, all I can suggest is the only experience I've ever had is with Motorworks. I have two of their clones. I think they run fantastic. I've never felt that I've been under horsepowered to anybody this whole season. Setup tires has been my issue. But yes, Todd Miller's a great builder. There's zero wrong with that guy. He knows what he's doing. There are legit. I don't know of any bad clone builders. We'll put it that way. Um, yeah, nothing comes out of hand like, oh, don't buy from that. That guy, does this or that. I don't, all I can say is who I run, and I'm extremely happy with the performance of the motors there. But yeah, Todd Miller's not. That'd be a really. There's Jimmy Rivers was another one that pops into my head. JRPW. I can't remember the acronym for his name, but yeah, there's that. But I I would just say who's ever willing to help you the most is the best engine builder. Um, it is not so much of who can make the most horsepower. It would be better that, hey, application wise, where should I be engaging my clutch? Where should I be turning it? What kind of maintenance are you willing to do? That type of stuff. Greg Walsh. That I was going to say that. Greg Walsh, head rush. He's local, down from PA Wellsville area there. Yeah, he's another local good one. That's like I said, there are a bunch of good engine builders that make great power. But having them being able to say, "Hey, I have a problem." Hey, they're unfortunately, clones they're China made engines that sometimes can go kaput. But who can service it? Who's going to be most knowledgeable? Who's going to, not give you BS like I run the most horsepower and I did it? Who is going to be there for you would be my choice of who to have choosing as an engine builder. I can message um, Mike or Kyle or whoever and ask a question right now. Hey, I got it. This happened to my engine, and they will get back to me and let me know. Hey, try this, do this. Whoa, we should take a peek at the engine. I broke a spark plug in one of the engines. I don't know anything about clones, and I gave it to Mike, and I said, I don't know. It won't turn any RPM, and he found it was sneaky, uh, sneaky crack in the spark plug. But he found a crack in it. He says, "There's your problem." And then I ran that engine this past time and zero issues with it. Finished second place. And that's my own fault for starting in the back. Well, it's not my own fault. I had a bunch of people bring that up. It's the way AMS did thing. It was a points championship night. They didn't want to have outsiders, aka me or anybody else, messing with points racers. So they started the features uh, with the in order in points order. So unfortunately for me, being I'm not a points chaser down there, I had to start in fifth. Had I been able to start up in say the top three or something like that, where I would have qualified, I think it might have been a better story for me at the end. But then again, Luke Outman ran fantastic freaking race, so I take nothing away from him. He got the win. I didn't. Sour grapes, I guess. Uh, but yes, Greg Walsh, head rush. Uh, Seen a bunch of his engines win races and run really well, so wouldn't hesitate to use him either. But all right, guys, 65 minutes. I appreciate the crap out of everybody who came out tonight. Um, I was curious, or if they were the viral video. God, I hate using that. I hate new terms. I'm too old to be doing. See this, Gray? I'm too old to be saying new stuff. Uh, anyway, that video that did really well. I was curious if it was going to have any impact on live streams or anything like that. And I gained a bunch of subscribers, which I appreciate the crap out of. But I was curious. I was just like, oh, I'm going live, and then all of a sudden there was 50 some people in here. I'm like, what the holy smokes! But all right. Anyway, yes, I will video on Sunday as always. I'm debating two topics really to discuss, but I'll figure it out by Saturday night. Get that shot, get that edited, all that stuff, and that will be Sunday. And then we'll see you guys here next Thursday, and we will bench race some more. We'll talk some more stuff. Bring questions. I don't ever want to make everything about me, but unfortunately, if I don't have your interaction, I will start talking about crap I'm doing, and then I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about you. I want to try and answer, or at least think through problems that you might be having, and we can, an open forum type of deal. So, all right, guys, I will catch you on Sunday with a new video, and then we'll see you next week here. So, all right, later.